Hey guys, Hadia here. I wanted to give you a little bit of insight as to the three main causes of frustration when you're dealing with a type 1 teen or preteen. And this is aside from the medical reasons, which are, if you're just looking at the medical information, you have all the reason in the world to be frustrated and overwhelmed because it's constantly changing and our bodies are changing. Diabetes is not a static thing, it moves. But when we're talking about the emotional frustration that comes with either being a diabetic or being the parent of a diabetic or the dynamic between the parent and the kid, there's three causes. So, and here they are. So the first one is you. And what that looks like is you're already an anxious person, which so many of us are. You may hear things like people saying you just need a break. You may find that you have to decompress a lot, or you're longing for an opportunity to decompress even though you don't have it. So usually people who fall into this boat already have anxiety, already have a history with depression, already feel overwhelmed. And what I mean by that is not just in relationship to their type 1 kid, but in many areas of their life, they're feeling pulled in lots of different directions. And what this ultimately looks like is you don't have the time or the resources to really focus on getting your kid back on track with taking care of their diabetes. That's what that comes down to. And even if you didn't start there, even if you're not predisposed to anxiety or depression, which so many of us are, it's almost every parent of a type 1 teen ends up there. So don't worry. If you're there, that's totally part of the program. But so that's one cause of it. The next one is your kid, obviously. So if you're hearing things like from other adults going, hey, so-and-so seems extra withdrawn or angry or won't come out of their shell or they aren't interested in the things they're usually interested in, all of these typical signs of depression, or anxiety. So if you see them eating a lot more than normal or not eating, if you're starting to notice their patterns are changing, that's another sign that the issue is with your kid. And this is particularly obvious if you are really in a clean, neutral place about it and you're really open, the kind of parent we all want to be with our kids, like just neutral and listening and compassionate, but creating a good structure that we know works for the kid, but suddenly it isn't working for the kid. Then we know there's something going on with the kid. And then the third is if you're both on the same page, which is rare, but usually happens before you hit the teen years, somewhere between diagnosis and hitting the teen years, where you're both on the same page and you agree on the goals and you're moving forward, but suddenly it's not working. And what you'll start to notice is that your kid will say things like, I'm just so stupid, or I can't get this right, or why does it have to be so hard, or I don't want to do this. Now, this usually happens before it ends up being a full-blown issue on the kid's side. So if you're noticing this is good. This is a precursor step. This is great to notice this before you get to the point where they are just not cooperative. So there you have it. You've got an issue with the parent, you've got an issue with the kid, and you've got an issue with the goals. So that's what that last one was, goals, which mean what often happens with teens is as they enter into their teen years, everything changes. I'm sorry, I know you had a plan. I know it was working great before puberty set in. Everything changes. So we have to reassess their goals. This often happens just as other priorities get bumped up in their life, usually social priorities, or just dealing with the emotional roller coaster ride of being a teen. That upends the way in which their body responds to insulin and food, and their capacity to face their blood sugars, which suddenly seems scarier. So that's the last one, goals. If the goals no longer match what the kid is capable of doing or what you're capable of doing, maybe you were a stay-at-home mom and you were able to really drill in exactly how many kernels of corn they were eating at dinner, and now you can't. Maybe you're not there. We have to look at the goals as something that needs to be shifted, and that's totally natural. It's going to happen in their life as an adult. It's an okay thing to be there. Don't beat yourself up for not being able to stay a super parent all the time. They are not going to be a super diabetic all their life. They need to know how to adjust their own expectations, and come up with another way to compensate. We just have to recognize where the actual problem is. So there you've got it. You've got a problem with you, or the parent. You've got a problem with the kid, or you've got a problem with the goal. And to be perfectly honest, it's usually all three. And the nice thing is with the work that I do is that I address all three. The whole point is to help the parent get their kid back on board, help the kid be willing to face their diabetes, and help them both come up with a plan that they can both agree to, so that parent gets to feel sane and confident in their kid, and the kid gets to feel like they still get to be a kid, and that it's okay to be human. Anyhow, I am so glad you watched this video. If you are in this boat and you're like, that's exactly where I am, I definitely have a problem with my kid, or I totally know it's me and I don't know how to get through this, all this constant anxiety I'm having about my kid, or you know that the framework of your goals isn't working, but you don't know how to create goals that actually fit, let me know. I would like you to email me if you're having these issues and you want to talk to me and you want to sit down and have a phone call with me and see whether or not we'd be a good fit to work together. Email me. This is my email address, happilyhadia@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. We'll find time to sit down together and see if we would work out well. In the meantime, be kind to yourself. And if you can't have compassion for your kid, take a walk. Go take care of yourself. It will be okay. There are ways to get through all of these problems, and you're not alone. Thanks.